Hey. Welcome to 4C
Hey,
Live.
everybody.
Hello.
I'm not here, so no lengthy intro.
No diarrhea of the mouth happening.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know the shtick by now. We got Mike DeCarlo here. He'll make you art. 4% processing, $25 shipping, all of that.
I'll make you happy, I promise.
Yeah, we're doing something a little different tonight. I know it's kind of a last minute schedule thing. But Mike got his hands on some Death in the Family blanks, and for anybody who remembers the Death in the Family, Mike was one of the creators on that wonderful series. And last year, DC re-released it, and they called it Robin Lives because they actually reprinted the book with the pages where Robin survived the beating from the Joker.
The inventory of that is very sold out. It's a miracle. I got some copies recently. You can't find them anywhere anymore. I don't know why they don't do another printing, actually.
Yeah, well, who knows? They may. From what I understand, those are the best-selling comics that DC had last year.
Which says a lot, actually. But anyway, and you have a sample of a couple of the ones I've done that were blank, and I did some artwork on. I know.
Where did I put those things? I definitely had some. I got. They're probably over there. But yeah, I have a couple of the sketches on them. But I definitely have. Mike also did a ton of artwork that we're going to run through. Show you guys if you want to pick anything up. We have all these pieces available. Probably wait for Jeff. He likes to get excited about that stuff.
And I might add, they're just, you can either buy those pieces or they're samples of what you may want. I don't care what anybody wants. It never bothers me. Happy joy. The Simpson family.
Oh, we had a death. Oh, yeah, she lost her head.
Oh, no. Oh, the humanity.
Anybody want to see a headless March? Nobody wants to see that. Let me go look for. Let me go look for those blanks though. I want to see if I have those right here. I think. One sec. March got too excited.
So how is everybody's Tuesday night going? Mike, do you got any cons this weekend?
I was going to go to Cleveland, but they thought I hadn't fully recovered from some pretty invasive surgery I had. I could have made it, but it's not going to kill me to still convalesce a bit longer. I'm just about back to normal. I could not eat solid food for 5 weeks.
That's kind of why we're doing this show, because Mike wasn't able to go to Cleveland, so I was like, well, let's see if we can drum up some business for you. But yeah, here's a Death in the Family blank.
Oh, wow.
Sticker. Yeah, those were requests people
Make yourself big, Ken. There we go.
So yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that Mike can do. If anybody wants to request anything, Mike has that 18.
I don't care any iteration of anything, reverse anything you want. It doesn't. I've done everything to this point.
Another popular. I don't have one, but he'll do a recreation of Robin's face, the issue where his face is big, and that's a good one too.
That's what anybody wants, really.
Hey, Roger.
So yes, if anybody wants any of that stuff, we're going to put those up right now. It's an open claim, guys. We're not going crazy with this stuff. If anybody wants any, Mike is very fast when it comes to this stuff. So he's got 18 of these things.
I think I sent you 30 files altogether.
Yeah.
I'm
talking about the sketch covers.
I'll have quite a few again. And I have plenty of crisis covers to the blank.
Sorry. I deleted it.
Emilio's asking prices and options, Ken.
On the sketch covers, they're going to be $150, basically for anything you want on it.
And I often add color too, without any extra charge. If you show him some of the ones that have color, he'll understand.
Yeah,
Especially the one with the Joker's holding the crowbar, I think.
yeah. Let me show somebody the art that Mike has available for you guys to purchase. Mike, you can tell me some of the sizes might be a little different.
Yeah, no, I'll as you show them, I'll describe them. Yeah, that was that's about 10 by 12. Sometimes single figures, I don't use an entire 11 by 17 because I don't think people want to have that big a frame for something that's not a huge drawing. So there's a pretty detailed logo there with bike. Now that's full size. That's done in gray wash.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a little different take on the Death in the Family.
Yeah, and like I say, I will add color. That's done full size, 11 by 17. That's without the masthead and words. That's a recreation of a cover I did with Carmine Infantino 43 years ago.
Wow. Mike, what cover is that?
Oh, that's from like a 1982 flash. I don't remember the exact number, but I just left the masthead off. I just thought the drawing itself was so nice.
Yeah.
And for the movie Iron Man, I like to do likenesses of characters too. That's all the 4 covers with my drawing in the middle of Batman holding the deceased Jason Todd. That is one of the better pieces I've ever done, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's for those who kind of like the Silver Age Superman. I wasn't trying to copy Kurt Swan, but I was trying to give that like 1962 feel to it. Those are the components that led up to Jason Todd's. On the left is the mother that betrayed him. While the Joker was beating him to death with the crowbar, she went to the side of the tent and lit a cigarette. That's why she's there. And then, of course, the next issue, when Superman tried to calm Batman down and Batman punches him in the face and almost breaks his hand. So that were the main components of the last couple of issues there. Batman holding Robin's tattered and broken jersey.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is a pencil and charcoal Wonder Woman.
Very nice.
Gorgeous. Hey, Hulk versus Batman.
The dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What would happen in a fight between a Hulk versus Batman? I mean,
Batman would win.
who?
I knew it. I was just trying to get you going.
I mean, it's almost silly. It's almost silly.
He can Tower of Babel anybody.
It's not even worth him getting angry over.
I like this one too.
Like,
Obviously, Red Hood with Batman. There's a recreation of one of my favorite comics of all time, Journey into Mystery 112, where Thor and the Hulk had a battle for the ages, courtesy of Jack Kirby. They just beat the crap out of each other for about 12 pages.
Who won?
Marvel, they had to kind of call it a draw. But they both got in some serious licks on each other, boy. Oof.
It's typical, like it's like wrestling booking. You can't have 2 top baby faces.
Yeah,
have one beat the other.
It's like Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso. You know,
Right. You just wouldn't do it. Like, why would you shoot yourself in the foot? Those are your money drawn guys.
Yeah, those are single shots with a little color. I did, I think, the very first 14 or 15 issues of Booster Gold in 85 or 86. The movie Loki.
Badass.
Hmm?
Badass.
Yeah, badass. That is a homage to the Silver Age Thor. That is my pride and joy. You got everything from Asgard to Jane Foster, the nurse.
Is that a Balder to Thor's left of Thor's hand?
Yeah, he's above Sif. That's Balder.
Yeah.
Balder the Brave. And of course, that's the destroyer on the far left.
And bottom right, is that Heimdall?
Yes, I'm standing in front of the Rainbow Bridge.
Wow.
That's a good one.
There's Ken's least favorite character in the world.
Yeah. Such a dull creature. He's a dull creature.
That's the I want to get Reed mad Sue Richards costume. A little bit of Lobo and a little bit of color there. Reaching for a cigar. Jason Todd killed, and Red Hood. You can't get a better transition than that, folks, if I may be bragging about my own artwork. And that looks much better in person. Watercolor doesn't scan very well.
Hey, number one Marvel fan.
Here you go. There's that was a blank Crisis cover. The Death of Supergirl I put on there. I often add color without even charging because I just want it to look nice.
Yeah, I like how you did that.
Oh,
Here's
wow.
Ken's other least favorite drawing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Those are 9 iterations of the Hulk from the Silver Age to the Bronze Age. Everywhere from Marie Severan's head on the far right to Steve Ditko's head on the top left.
Hmm. Good old Nick.
That's yeah, that's a I try to give it a sepia tone for Nick Fury. That's a what if. That is because that was done in the late winter or the early spring of 1962. The original. My what if was, what if Jack had drawn that same thing 4 years later? Because the Thing and everybody looked completely different. Because that was only issue 4 of the FF. Anybody who ever looks at it, the characters are unrecognizable. So I brought it to, I think it was Kirby's peak around 66 in my own way. That's
A bunch of rocks.
Old Ben Grimm. In the back is a pencil of Ben Grimm in the origin was supposed to be an ex-World War II jet fighter. I believe back then you could be young and still have fought in World War II because the FF came out in late 1961. So the World War II had only ended 16 years before. So you could only be in your mid to late 30s and been a jet fighter in World War II.
Right.
So everything else is in ink.
Wow. Cool stuff.
You have a whole nother group, I think.
Marvel fan asks, how much is something like the Thing piece?
The Ting? How big is that one, Mike?
That's 11 by 17. I'd have to get 300 for it because that is like a 10-hour drawing. And I'd be kind of silly to charge less than that. That has so much detail you can't even believe it.
Yeah, you can see it's a lot of rocks. A lot of rocks.
A lot of rocks.
More rocks than in Mike's head.
If such a thing is possible. You got that other group of 15, I think.
No, that was all of them.
That was all 30.
Yeah.
Roger Ash asks, would Mike be willing to do a Starfire piece, kind of like the Wonder Woman piece?
Of course.
Yeah.
Just in pencil and charcoal. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Folks, everybody needs to know something. I'm not known for one thing in particular. Like some people are, always was a Spider-Man artist, always was an act. I like to draw everything, and I've drawn everything from The Simpsons to Conan to Looney Tunes. I adapt to everything. So I'm happy to do anything in any media, pencil, watercolor, ink. I'm just somebody who spent time in college learning to be an artist and happened to chance onto being a comic artist. So I like to work in all media and all types of themes, characters. Nothing bothers me.
I learned something with last time we were at Portland, I think, or MegaCon. I can't remember. I think it was Portland though. I didn't realize how much Mike knew about comic books. Like, I bought a bunch of awesome. So Roger Ash, you want to do a piece like that? Sweet.
Is that the pencil charcoal portrait of Starfire?
Correct.
You want a lot of boobs in there or what? Because she's known for her hair and her boobs. And either one is fine with me. I'm assuming he wants that kind of a torso shot like I did for Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, we'll find out.
And tell us what you like, Roger. If you want a full figure, we'll work that out too. Anything. I don't care.
He said both to your first question. With the boobs in there. Both.
What a shock. Although I know what you were saying before, Ken. You got to understand. Because I had an older brother. Oh, is there any published character you never drew you wanted to? I don't think there's any character I've never drawn, ever.
Yeah, I mean, Mike is pretty prolific.
Roger Ash says torso is perfect.
That's fine, Roger.
You got that info, Ken?
Yep.
I've been doing this staggeringly for almost 46 years. And I've worked for every company from Nickelodeon to on down, Cartoon Network, Marvel, DC, The Simpsons, Valiant, everybody. Bongo. Yeah. I mean, I've worked for everybody. And I enjoy it. I love learning to do new characters, figure it out. I really think my claim to fame is I've drawn more characters than anybody.
That's because you worked with George Perez.
Yeah, that was on one page.
One cover.
Funny, I tell you, the truth is my wife used to watch me ink George Perez because I could do 2 or 3 pages of Green Lantern, anything in a day. And she'd see me, I would do half a page in a day. And she said, how are you going to make any money doing half a page? I said, she goes, don't you get more? I said, no. So in her way, she hated George Perez because I was doing half a page a day. Oh, my God. That's funny.
And those covers, I bet, right? Jeez.
Oh, Lord. And I did. Yeah, Hannah has inked the most pages ever, but he's kind of been either Batman or Spider-Man. See, I don't think he ever worked for Cartoon Network and Looney. I'm not taking away anything from Scott. He's a good friend of mine. But I'd say 90% of his work are on maybe 5 characters. And that's great. He's been on some of the best characters in the world. So I understand. He's probably inked 20,000 pages.
Yeah, but Mike's like the Johnny Cash of it. He's been everywhere, man.
Do I need to go through all those cities? I know that song. Yeah, I've been everywhere, done everything. But anyway, now he was right about Scott Hanna.
A big Beatles fan. We were with Bill, and we were talking about the Beatles. I don't remember exactly what the subject, but they started talking about the Beatles' birth, like who was older. And Bill was saying that I think he was saying Lennon was older. Mike starts rattling off their birthdays. Well, Lennon was born in May of like, oh my God.
I can be hard to take. I admit it. And you know how I am with sports. How was I with poor Pepper Johnson that night?
Oh, he loved it though. We had Mike come on an episode of Pep Talk, and
I'm not prepared to talk about football yet.
And Mike basically interviewed Pepper for 2 hours.
Why didn't the Giants run more draws and screen passes against the Eagles? He's like, what the fuck are you asking me for? That was so funny. Jesus Christ.
And don't get him started on the Yanks. Big Yankee fan.
I'm ready for baseball season.
Yeah, the Dodgers started last night in Tokyo.
I heard that. They win?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, well.
Of course.
I think I'm gonna get past the con this weekend, and I'm gonna look and pick up some tickets for next month.
Are you a Yankee fan?
No, I'm in Kansas City.
Oh, so you're a Royals fan.
Correct.
Becker and I went to a Royals game a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think Mike actually heard this story maybe the first time I was ever on a stream with. I'm sure you don't remember it, but yeah,
I might.
Because you actually gave me a compliment on it. So the whole story is Ken and I got us through a guy at work. I got us like VIP box seats in the Diamond Club Vision, whatever they call it. You know, we had a waiter. We had this guy bringing food. Well, I'm not used to living that lifestyle in this suite, and I forgot to settle up our tab. I for some reason I thought Ken thought I had. We left in the 7th inning because we had just got done setting up at the con. We had other stuff to do. We're like, yeah, let's take off. We'll leave. So we're driving away, and I was like, you paid the guy, right? And he's like, no, I thought you did. And so I dropped Ken off at his hotel. I made it back to the game in like 1 inning. Like I drove, and then I had to like break into the stadium. A cop almost tackles me. And I'm like, I'm just trying to settle up my bill. I get back as the game is ended. I fought my way through. I get to the waiter. I paid him. I tipped him. He's like, yeah, I thought you had left. You know, like,
I thought you stiffed me for $600, you creep.
Yeah. Well, I didn't, and he got a very nice tip. But yeah, I think like that you were the first person we told that story to, like just maybe a week after it had happened. And
you're a better man than I am, lad.
I think that's about what you said.
I would have said, "Oh well, they're not going to. The franchise isn't going to fold because they didn't pay for the beer and pretzels."
My conscience would have gotten me.
Yeah, but it was fun though. I was trying to talk about like, what are you doing?
All right, so we just have so far the one Starfire, I think. The guy's thinking about the thing, maybe.
Yeah, he's gonna do them after the show. It's not a live draw, Marvel thing. He said, "Missed the start. Are we doing these live, or is it orders?" It's orders, right, Ken?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about anything. I'm just not in a position to draw and do this at the same time. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have a request, Ken and everybody will, take whatever description or whatever commission you may want. Doesn't matter to me. Anything you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's just fun talking to Mike because he's got a wealth of knowledge about stuff. He's interesting. He talks, he tells good stories. He falls downstairs at the Hall of Fame. I mean, all kinds of good stuff.
You fell downstairs.
Mike went to the Baseball Hall of Fame last year, and he had a little accident. And he posted on Facebook telling the whole story about how he fell. And everyone's in there, oh, Mike this, Mike that. The creators are going, Mike, you got to take care of yourself. I commented, rub some dirt on it, walk it off.
What I would expect from Ken.
Sounds like Ken. Sounds like Ken.
Cracked ribs, a busted knee, rub some dirt on
walk
it.
it off.
Walk it off, yeah. My friends will never let me live that down because they had to spend half the night at the hospital waiting for me to get out. Anyway,
but were you safe?
Safe at home. Boy, I saw everybody that weekend. Pete Rose just before he died.
Oh, wow.
Doc Gooden, Cal Ripken. I mean, everybody was there that weekend. Dave Winfield. I was talking to what's that guy from ESPN? Tim Kirchin, this baseball guy. We were talking. It was a good time. It really was. You couldn't look at anywhere without seeing a star. Penciler you enjoyed inking. I mostly enjoyed everybody for their own thing. I found Mike Zeck was good to ink. Mike Golden was good to ink. I got to ink Steve Ditko. I got to ink Don Heck. I got to ink Gil Kane. I got to ink George Perez. I got to ink Gene Colan. I got to ink Ross Andrew. I got to ink or work with the new group of the 80s and some of the guys who were still around from the 60s. Kurt Swan, I inked several times. Carmine Infantino. That was a good 1979 or 80 to about 1995 was a real good time to be in comics. It really was. Because you still had the older fellas and you had a lot of the new talent. And it was, I would never look back. Yeah, it was amazing. A quick story in 1981 or 2, I'm sitting at a table. To my left is Don Heck and Dick Ayers. And then to my right is John Romita Sr. And I forget who else was there. And I was like 23 or 4 years old. And I'm saying, because I just started getting regular books, I'm saying, what am I doing with these fucking legends? I was almost afraid to talk. Colin he and Kurt Swan were difficult because they used the side of their pencils and used all these soft grays, like fine art stuff. It wasn't, here's a line, ink it. It was tones and grays. And if you didn't know art, you didn't know what the hell to do. And that's why I've seen Colin especially ink beautifully by people who knew how to ink and draw, and absolutely butchered by people who just didn't know how to interpret his very subtle penciling. He's one of the 4 or 5 toughest people I've ever had to ink.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it really is.
1981.
That's it. That's true.
Yeah, now he hangs around with me and Morrison and sits at the table and goes, what the hell am I doing with these dipshits?
How the mighty have fallen.
Exactly.
No, the 80s was a great decade. It was a great decade. You could just go to DC and Marvel. You didn't need an appointment if you were working for them. Yeah, let's go out for lunch. Now you need to make a 3-month appointment to go there. It's all different. There's not that familial feeling to it anymore. Family and friends. We used to play poker I used to play poker at night with Dick Giordano and Joe Orlando and all these people. Marv Wolfman, Jeanette Kahn.
Who was the best poker player out of them?
I think Joe Orlando was pretty good. I always held my own, even though those rich bastards would bump me constantly because they had more money than me. I was still only in my 20s. Imagine playing poker with Paul Levitz and Jeanette Kahn back then. It was nothing. It was a different world. I told you guys the story of now that is the one guy, sadly, I never got to ink, was my idol, Jack Kirby. Never got to ink him. I've recreated him for his work for people, but I never had a Kirby pencil underneath me. And that is my one true regret, because I inked Ditko and I inked Heck. I never did Kirby. How sad for me, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike worked on some iconic covers, first appearance of Lobo, was it Omega Man 4?
3, Omega Man 3. I think you should have it in there.
I
think there's some stuff you haven't shown. You don't believe
that
me.
That was all the stuff that loaded.
No, that wasn't 30.
That was all the stuff that loaded.
Well, I sent you 2 things of 15 files. You're driving me crazy.
This was like an economy with me and Mike.
I know. You showed half of the stuff I sent you.
No, I didn't load up. You know what? It's probably StreamYard. It only lets me load so much media at one time. So I had to delete stuff to put the other stuff up.
Oh.
What we should do? We'll do a post with all of these pieces and prices and stuff. And people can claim them in a post on 4C.
Yeah, I mean,
is Roger Ash still out there? I just wondered if he's still lurking.
He asked me some nice
I just
questions.
realized I was taking all the stuff out of my backpack because now I'm off work till Monday. And I was kind of unpacking and I realized my reading material for my lunch break today. Hey, Roger Ash. What's up, buddy?
There you go. For my birthday, this guy on Facebook sends me the first 10 issues of the Fantastic Four in a nice compendium. Man, that stuff is just amazing. Kirby was so freaking amazing. See, he's like the Beatles to me. It's like there can be one Beatles and there can only be one Jack Kirby. You cannot replicate those two. It's impossible. They both ushered in a new era that's never died. How could you be another Kirby? It's impossible. And you can't be another Beatles. Doesn't mean you can't play as well or draw as well, but you can't be what they were to either medium. And it's funny, their peaks were almost the same time. They both kind of Jack hit the world. Jack hit the world with all the newest stuff in essentially 62. The FF was at the end of 61. In 62 and 3, he exploded. And that's exactly when the Beatles exploded in 62, 63. By 64 and 65, Jack and the Beatles were doing their best work. I've always thought that was a very odd coincidence in a way. It was a sign of those times, I think. Don't mind me. I'm a media philosopher.
No, you're good.
No, I mean, I think you've got something there that it was like creative breakthrough times.
It was. All the puritanical bullshit, all the conservatism of the 50s had ended. And it ended when Kennedy was shot to me. But I'm open to anything, Javier. Anything. I like doing anything. I've done Changeling many times. I worked on the Legion for 2.5 years, as a matter of fact.
Hey, Neil.
Hello, Neil. Welcome aboard. You get to hear me philosophizing and what's that word when you just don't shut up? You get to hear me not shut up for the entire time I'm here.
Do you have other prices to post, Ken? Because, I don't know. Did you guys ever quote Roger Ash a price, or did I miss that?
No. We didn't quote. It's they're kind of unique. I'll get in touch with these guys and let them know.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure for people that were just joining us and didn't know
We're
how
kind of
to
a la carte
name.
tonight, so
I will
yeah.
be perfectly honest, and Ken doesn't like this, but I'm at a period in my life. I have very few expenses, and I'm doing fine. And I don't need to charge $400 for a headshot like some people do. I think it's almost an ego thing. I think of how long it's going to take. If something's going to take me 3 hours, why do I have to charge $1,000 for it? I think that's ridiculous. So I try to consider myself a really good electrician or a really good plumber, and I base myself that way because I don't need to soak people for my ego. I just don't need to. So
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
Thank you.
I tell you, Mike, you should see the episode where Ken
That's
found
funny.
out Jeff and I gave something away.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. He took us out back and roughed us up something furious when he got back from his cruise.
I could imagine. What are you doing? And everybody's going to expect some free drawing, right?
You jabronis.
No,
First of all,
I'm not saying I'm cheap. I'm just saying I don't need to charge ridiculous prices like I feel some of my brethren do. Yeah, there you go. $700 for a freaking signature.
$700 for a signature. Woof.
I wouldn't give him $7.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. Tom Brady's the all-time champ. $1,000 for a signature. Tom Brady, $1,000 for a signature. Hey, Tom.
Who does he
That's
think
what I
he
think
is?
of your
Patrick
signature.
Mahomes?
Oh, God. Like he doesn't have enough money. Whatever. Power to the people. That's what I say. I'm from the 60s, man. Power to the people.
Mr. T is
Mr. T, 250. Yeah, okay.
Nice. Yikes. So
It's criminal. It's criminal to me. You see these poor people, cost them $60 to get in, and then they wait in line for an hour and they're getting charged these ridiculous amounts. And God forbid you want a photo. Oh, it's $800 for a photo. Really? No, I understand. Still.
So Ken, we'd been talking about baseball earlier. Do you get to any games down in Florida with all the? Because you get a lot of the spring games, right?
Yeah, no, I don't go.
You don't go to any of that.
No.
I just like going out to the park. My wife and I, we like to go to the ballpark like on a weeknight when it's not as busy. And we'll go like last year before it got real hot out. I think we hit like 7 games in the beginning of the year and maybe 4 more at the end.
You know, I worked in sports for a long time, but I didn't go to a lot of events. You know, handful. I mean, seriously, it just wasn't something I was really into. You know, I don't know. It's hard. You know what I mean? To
Your best friend was Reggie Jackson, right?
Oh, don't get me started, Reggie. But I mean, yeah, I would go. You know, I kind of get a thing like, you know, I'd like to see every stadium kind of thing. So, you know, if we were in a town and, you know, I can go to a game that I haven't been to that stadium, sure. I'll try
I don't mean to interrupt Javier's. Yes, Javier, absolutely. And somebody was asking if they could send me some blanks. Yeah, I don't care what the blank is. Just send it to me and yes, there you go. Neil, just send whatever you want. I don't care if it's whoever it is, Marvel, DC, anybody.
Ken, you got this one written down?
I do.
And Javier, Ken will be reaching out to you and
sure,
get it all set up.
Happy to do it, Javier. Happy to do it.
Oh, Roger was at Sloan Park a week ago today. Now, forgive me, Roger. Is that Arizona, I think? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I never heard of Slum Park.
Yeah, I think it's one
Might
of
be
the
in the
spring.
Cactus League.
Yeah, I think it's Cactus League, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't know who plays out of there either. I mean, I like going to Kaufman. It's now this year I'm not sure. They did raise the prices a little bit, but not bad. But when the Royals were really bad, I was loving it. We were getting into the ballpark for $5 to $10, sit wherever you want, pretty much, and we would just have a nice time.
I'm sure you don't remember, but in the mid to late 70s, those Yankee Royal games, the playoff games, to see who could get in the World Series, man, those guys went at it like animals. The Royals and the Yankees hated each other in the late 70s. The George Brett Royals and the Thurman Munson Yankees. Oh my God, those were the best games ever. Man, Royals were a very tough team back then. They used to give the Yankees every single bit of headache that they could.
I was a big George Brett fan growing up.
He's one of the best left-handed hitters I've ever seen. Amazing. The Yankees could never get George Brett out. They couldn't get him out.
Except for the
They
Pine
just beat the rest of the team. Really? He'd have 5 hits.
And allegedly.
He'd have 5 hits, and the rest of the team would have 2.
Do you think Billy Martin would have made something like that up?
What would he say?
Yeah.
The Pine
He was the Pine Tar. George Brett.
Oh, the Pine
accused
Tar.
of cheating.
Well, somebody said to Billy, there's this really old, stupid rule about how high Pine Tar could go up a bat. Yeah, sorry
Jeez
about
Louise.
that.
Oh.
Ooh.
We don't want the smoke, Marcus. We don't want the smoke.
Yeah, so anyway, somebody said to Billy, there's this old rule about the Pine Tar can only go up to 1/3 of the bat, and look at George's bat. Let's save it in case he gets a really important hit. They haven't enforced that rule ever, but it was on the books. So the umpires had to call him out. That's when that scene where I thought he was going to swallow the umpire. I've never seen a guy attack an umpire because they lost the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
That
a big
was
one.
amazing.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I met George Brett twice. First time I met George Brett, it was new in my coaching career, and I was wearing my coach's jacket. And he said to me, "Oh, you coach football?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How'd you guys do this year?" I said, "We lost every game." He said, "You must be a hell of a teacher." So then 4 years later, I saw George again, and I said, "George," and I told him that. He goes, "I said that to you?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, how's the team doing?" I said, "We just won a state championship." He said, "I knew you were a good teacher."
Hey.
He was rattling your cage, huh?
He was. You know what? It was all right. I didn't mind when they rattled the cage a little bit.
You remember Greg Nettles for the Yankees? Greg Nettles.
Oh yeah. I got a story about
He and George Brett had a couple of serious fist fights on the ball field. Him and George Brett hated each other. They would duke it out, boy.
Who's the guy
Greg Nettles?
Greg Nettles got into a fist fight with?
Oh, and he ruined his pitching arm. That was
Paul, the spaceman, Paul Lee, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I was with him once in Boston, and I asked him about that, and he was telling me, and then he said, I said, "Do you ever talk to Greg?" He goes, "I carry a baseball card of Greg Nettles in my back pocket," and he pulled out his wallet, and there was a Greg Nettles baseball card in his wallet. He said, "The sight and the smell never changes for the son of a bitch."
Bill Lee, that's right, Bill Lee.
Spaceman.
I actually have a baseball story from a minor league game in Northeast Iowa, where I'm originally from. We were at a Clinton Lumber Kings game against the Peoria Chiefs. Ryan Sandberg was the Peoria Chiefs manager at the time.
Great second baseman. Right.
And a bunch of my friends and I all went, and people brought their Cubs jerseys and stuff to get signed. I had a baseball to get signed after the game. And lo and behold, we picked a heck of a game because Sandberg actually got into a fist fight with the other team's manager over a call. and he got ejected from the game, as did the Lumber Kings manager. And he also got the worst end of that fight. He got dumped on his head pretty hard. The guy flipped him. And when he got dragged off, they announced that he wouldn't be at the booth signing at the end. And I was like, well, I know where everybody exits through, so maybe we can go out there, guys. I don't know. I doubt he's going to sign anything. This is a pretty bad day for him. Got ejected, got into a fight. He's pissed. Damned if he didn't go outside in the parking lot and sign autographs for people for 40 minutes after that game.
Hey,
and he's not charging. It's not like he's getting paid for this.
Don't underestimate the toughness of a professional athlete.
But he's signing, and I remember this one guy had like 3 baseballs with him. And the other thing that sticks out to me is that Sandberg didn't say a word to anybody. He just signed your item and he moved to the next person. You could tell he was mad. But he's signing. And if somebody said something to him, he'd say thank you, and he'd sign the item and move on. Well, then this guy comes up with multiple baseballs to hand him to sign. And he just looks at him. He's like, you're pushing it.
Wow. Briefly, because I don't want to make this a baseball show. I've been following baseball since Sandy Koufax beat the Yankees in the '63 World Series. The best baseball fight by far is 1998 when Armando Benitez, who was pitching for the Orioles, hit Tino Martinez in the center of the back, almost crippled him. That fight went on viciously for 15 minutes. It got into each dugout. The Yankees went into the dugout to kill Armando Benitez. They were sucker shotting him, beating him to death. Just Orioles versus Yankees 1998 fight. It's the all-time fight. And when you people see it, you'll say, Mike was not kidding. I've never seen a baseball fight where they were trying to kill another player because everybody hated Armando Benitez. Even the guys on his team couldn't stand him. You got to look it up. 1998, Orioles versus Yankees. You got to watch that, number one Marla fan. 1998, Orioles versus Yankees, Yankee Stadium. Benitez hits Tino Martinez. It'll come right up because it's like the number one researched baseball fight in history. You can't believe it's like a riot.
It's crazy.
I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, it's hilarious. I've never seen such hatred like that before.
Wow.
Ken is like, I got to look at this.
I'm going to now.
I'm gonna look that up.
On
YouTube. It comes up in 1 second.
Nice. Oh, he's good fight's always good,
Yeah, you're right. Benitez was like the biggest jerk in the history of baseball. His own teammates couldn't stand him.
That's a tough spot, man. When you're a professional athlete on a team sport and none of your teammates like you. Yeah.
Then he went to the Mets and they couldn't stand him. He was a jerk. Put him in the most pressure save situation. He was great in May, to save a game. Put him in the pressure game, he'd lose it every time. Every time. He'd have 30 saves, and then when it's a pressure save, he'd walk 11 guys and lose the game. That was Armando Benitez. And anybody who was a Met fan or an Oriole fan would say, what a jerk.
That was like Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza, he couldn't hit a home run when somebody was on base. He hit more solo home runs than I ever saw anybody ever hit. You put somebody on base, he was striking out every time.
That's funny.
I know you don't want to dwell too much on baseball, but last baseball related question, Mike.
Yes,
do you get to games very often anymore or no?
It's hard because it's like an entire day out of my life, and it's kind of hard for me.
They're expensive too now. I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot different.
you used to be able to go to a baseball game. You take your family for under $50. Now you can't.
Now
even,
you got to take out a bank loan.
I still can. It's right around 50 when Jill and I go.
Yeah, but I mean,
well, that's in Kansas City, though, right?
Yeah, we're a small.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the reasonable Midwest, of course. You go to Yankee Stadium,
try going to a Chiefs game sometime.
What's that?
I said try going to a Chiefs game sometime. They'll take your kidney as payment or something. Jeez, no. They are the worst.
I'm starting to. You know how much I've loved football. I'm starting to lose touch with football.
I lost it.
It's all money. You don't hear about anything. Who signed what? 5 years at $200 million. That's all you hear now. It's sickening. Guys don't stay on the same team for 3 years anymore.
It's a lot of things with the NFL for me. I mean, the fact that they play 17 games. I mean, 16 games is too much. 17 games is way too much. These guys can't take beatings like that over the course of a season. Yeah, 2 preseason games. Why? Because the fans don't want to do preseason games. Well, guess what? As a coach, you need those preseason games to evaluate players. How are you going to cut a roster after 2, go down, 50?
That's why everybody gets injured in the first 2 or 3 games. You see all these guys getting injured. They're not ready. They used to play 6 games. By the time they started the season, they were tired.
Yeah, I mean,
Brewers Cardinals. I remember that. That was a great World Series.
They've taken defenses out of football. I mean, these guys can't do anything. They got to can't bump and run within 10 yards. They can't.
I think Marvel fans watching your fight.
You're seeing that fight.
Yeah,
that is he'll admit that's the best baseball fight he's ever seen. Everybody who I've showed that to everybody, they say, "Oh my God, they're trying to kill each other, literally kill each other." Tino Martinez, who got hit in the back, he had this look. Let me throw this guy to Benitez because I'm going to kill him. He had that utterly crazed look. I've never seen anybody so crazed with hatred. It's worth seeing, really. I don't promote fights. I don't love them. But that one fight is the all-time classic. And it goes on for like 13 minutes.
I like my fighting to be scripted.
Well, this was unscripted. Here's the background. The Orioles were leading the Yankees all game, and then Benitez comes in, and he gives up a 3-run home run to Bernie Williams. So now they're losing. The next poor slob up is Tino Martinez. Yes, you see what Darryl Strawberry took those sucker shots at him. Oh my God, Darryl Strawberry's chasing Benitez in the dugout, and he's taking these sucker shots at him. It's out of control. They should have had the riot police there. Roger's enjoying that thing, right? Is that Roger? The Marvel fan. Yes, you're right. Darryl did. He absolutely did. You're right. He's digging that fight, I can tell. It's insane. You looking it up?
Yeah.
I think go to YouTube, 1998, Orioles versus Yankees fight. Comes right up.
Fight.
Anyway. Here we go. Bernie Williams, that's it. Bernie Williams hits the home run. I got such a memory for this shit. So now the Yankees, who are kicking ass. Now watch what happens to Tino. Boom!
Ooh.
He's crippled. And then watch what Benitez does.
Oh, Jesus.
Benitez like, hey, come on, man. You want some? I'll give it to you. Look at Tino.
And Tino's not that kind of guy, He's
and look at Benitez like, come on, I'll take you all on. And there's a Yankee duck.
What the hell?
They're trying to kill him. Oh my God. Did you ever see anything like this? It's all for one guy. They're trying to kill him. I shouldn't be laughing. And this goes on for 10 minutes. There's Darryl hitting him in the head.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that.
Seriously, you ever see a fight like that? I never have.
The New York crowd was going crazy too.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Where's
anything like
George?
that outside of an old country buffet.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That was some wild stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Chris,
Oh,
you stay out of
bacon
this.
is here. Bacon.
Stay out of this with your Toronto bullshit, your Blue Jays.
What do you say? Typical AOC that Arfman got. Yeah, that's right. Because the Canadians would have ran. You know, I have something to say. I have something to say about. I was in Canada this weekend, so I'm at this Toronto Comic Con, and you know, Canadians are the nicest people. They apologize for everything, right?
They are.
But they also are pain in the ass. I listen. When you walk down a con, people block the aisles. You know what I mean? Looking at this, looking at that, you know, that kind of stuff, right? It didn't matter where I was going. There was somebody standing in my way. In every con I've ever been to, I was like,
Cluelessness.
what is going on? I mean, I wanted to start smacking people in the back of the heads. Get the fuck out of the way. They literally stand. I mean, they must be standing there with their arms out and their legs like this, blocking the entire aisle. It's like,
it's a more relaxed culture.
Is it
people from the East Coast like us, Jersey, and you know, we're like, oh, what are you doing?
Oh, forget about it. Come on,
get out of the way. I'm trying to give somewhere. They are sweet people, though.
No,
they really are.
It was very nice. I was going to try to go to see the Senators were playing the Maple Leafs on Saturday night, but yeah, I couldn't get tickets to the game. I would have liked that.
That's one thing they kick ass at is hockey. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, they lost to Ottawa that night, but there's another Canadian team. So, and I flew home on WestJet. I've never flown WestJet before. It was basically a bus with wings, but they were very nice. They gave us snacks and food and drinks, and you know there was no Wi-Fi, there was no TV. It was a bus with wings. But you know, it was it wasn't too bad.
No Canada, no frills airline.
No frills airline. They even told us beforehand. They said there's no Wi-Fi, there's no TV, so make sure you got something to entertain yourself for the next 3 hours.
But we have the best pretzels of any airlines on the northern continent. That's funny.
I'll tell you. There is
right. The 51st day. Yeah.
There is no love for the president of the United States in Canada. I mean, people were very openly voicing their disgust for the orange tyrant, which I must have heard 50 times while I was over there. The orange tyrant.
You know, that's not a good subject to get me started on.
Let's not poke that bear. Let's start talking baseball again.
You know what he's doing to the people of Kentucky by this liquor thing, this liquor tariff? He's putting so many hundreds of people out of business who were selling their liquor to Canada. What does he care? Kentucky is in a state of shock. They used to sell so much to Canada. Now Canada's like, we don't want your liquor anymore.
I don't blame him. I mean,
who is he helping by doing this stuff?
Himself.
Anyway, I don't want this to get political. It's not my place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you want me to stay on more, I think
we're going to call it. But we're going to post up all those pictures. I'll get the rest of them up there that Mike's complaining I didn't put up. We're going to post it. And if anybody wants any commissions from Mike, since he's not going to Cleveland, he's got some time this weekend. So you can reach out to me.
Well, we have a few, and I'm looking forward to it. And I hope when they see the others, I'm very flexible. Like I said, there's nothing I can't draw professionally. So don't worry about what you want. If you want it in pencil, I like that. If you want it full watercolor, the washes, it doesn't matter. I just like doing anything. It's just how I am. So
awesome.
All right, everybody who came on, thank you. And thanks for listening to my baseball stories and promoting violence on the baseball field.
I hooked up a few sketch ops that were going to be coming up. Dave Dorman's going to be coming on, I think, hopefully in about 2 weeks. We're also going to have Keegan McLeod will be coming on. He was the gentleman who did the drawings at the end of the She-Hulk. I got this piece over the weekend.
That's very nice.
So yeah, we're gonna have a few more sketch ops coming up, and more of course we're still working on SketchCon 4, which happening in early April. No, I don't really have too many guests to announce just yet. I haven't really dug into that yet, but I still got a week to go. One more convention, and I'm done for a minute.
You need to rest. You've been going nonstop since the beginning of January.
Yeah. So, but thanks everybody for coming out. Jeff, showing up, son of a bitch.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna throw you a beating next time I see you. Jesus. What was he doing? Eating supper? I didn't eat supper yet either. Come on.
Exactly. We didn't even have pops out of a bag yet, Becker.
Oh, for crying out loud. I'll never live that down.
All right, buddies and people who came on, thank you. And I look forward to whatever drawings you can get for me.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all next week.
All right. Take care.